ride, boy.
Wrestling is trash. Wrestling is trash.
And welcome back to another episode of Wrestling is Trash podcast, where us trash boys and occasionally girls get together and talk everything professional wrestling. But today we're here for a different reason. We're only here for the good, the positive. We're here. We'll all introduce ourselves here in a little bit, but I'll let you know we're here today to remember the life of Mr. Jay Briscoe. Phenomenal professional wrestler. Something that took the whole IWC and everyone, just the whole world, country even, by storm. Just a tragic loss of a man, a wrestler, father, husband, the whole nine. Just real quick, for Jay and the Briscoes just as a whole, I'd say ROH was the first promotion I reached out to start watching back in the day that wasn't WWE. And the first thing I got of the Briscoes was Jay and Adam Cole, actually, for me. That was like my first little glimpse of it. Because that was in 2013-14, I believe. So I don't recall if I was watching that, following that live or not. But that was like my first thing of it. And just the way he carried himself as a performer and just kind of like just a dog. You know what I mean? Like he's a dog. He's a dude. You know what I mean? So I just instantly gelled, and occasionally on and off watching Ring of Honor. But they were always a team who brought me back. You know what I mean? Just must see. Nothing but positive things I can say about him. Just all the condolences to him, his family, the whole nine. As you guys know, though, I am Nick Anicelli. I'm going to pass it off to Trash Boy Numero Dos, my man Lou. Lou, how you doing? Let's hear about Jay. Let's hear what you got.
Man, I'm good, man. We're here on a special episode of Wrestling is Trash. We thought we'd do this episode because the last episode that we did, obviously, if you guys heard, we were hit with the news about Jay's passing, and kind of derailed me for a couple days. I'm still kind of like weird about it, but because it's strange, man. You know, the last time I felt like this was my personal favorite wrestler is Eddie Guerrero. He died when I was 26, I believe. It was 2005, and I cried like a bitch when Eddie Guerrero died. Real talk. And this shit, like me being 44 now and just watching the Briscoes all these years in ROH, like that shit happening, dude. You know, it's funny. It's funny is the wrong word, but it's just weird that, you know, usually with wrestlers, they don't have a long shelf life. You know what I mean? Like it's been a thing where wrestlers have died very young. And usually when that happens, it's like, oh, well, you know, he's had problems and, you know, this one drinks too much, or this one does this, or this one does that. But it wasn't the case with this man. This man was just doing something people do every day. He was taking his kids to cheerleading practice, and a horrible accident occurred, and now he's no longer here. And it's like, that shit stings, bro. It really fucking stings. And it's very sad, but we're going to try to, on this show, kind of like keep it a little lighter. We're going to watch one of the best matches really that I've seen in ever. I said on earlier podcasts that this for me is the best tag team match I've ever seen. So I think it's fitting that we do a little watch along here. We've been wanting to do a watch along, and what better time to do it now? Unfortunately, I wish it was under better circumstances, but you know, we're going to do what we do. So you guys already know I'm Lou from the BX, the second Trash Boy. And today we have a special guest with us here today to celebrate this man's life. And I can't think of anyone better to have on the show to do that than our friend Bryan from the UWO Podcast, who's right below me here. Bryan, if you would like to say some things, you have
the 401.
The 401, damn right. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Bryan from the UWO Podcast. Yeah, I am a day one guy when it comes to Jay Briscoe. I still remember buying the beginning of the Ring of Honor DVD sets I remember him coming out as the very first person, walking through that curtain, taking that swig of water and just chucking the bottle into the ring with Mark walking right behind him. I have followed their career for years. I always tell the story on the show about an old friend of mine when I used to work at a law firm in downtown. I always shout him out. His name's Sean Robinson. And he was my Ring of Honor DVD plug. And not only was he handing me DVDs, he was handing them to me in order. So I remember from the early years of the Briscoes, from Jay and Mark fighting each other, to the Jim Cornette years when they were managing them, to when them boys were going 2 straight on everybody in 2 out of 3 falls matches, to some of the greatest battles I've ever seen in tag teams. I've always said it. The Briscoes were always a top 5 team every year that they were together.
Mm-hmm.
I don't give a damn what year you look at it. I don't give a damn what companies were out. These boys took on everybody and defeated everybody. You name a name that's currently in this business right now, whether they're still wrestling or they're retiring or they're not being booked anywhere, they've been through the Briscoe. And the Briscoes have, you know what I'm saying? They've shined every time. It's hard to go out there and say that any of these dudes had a bad match. And not only that, when it comes to Jay in like specific, you want to talk about an underrated singles competitor, you know, a former 2-time Ring of Honor world champion. And like people, it depends on where you look at professional wrestling, because there are people who are purists, there are people who are casuals, there are people who are just in for the entertainment, the mic workers, and then the people that just want to shit online. It's hard to find a hole in this man's game, whether it's being serious, but whether it's being, you know, goofy with his brother, whether it's getting Papa Briscoe involved. Like, it's hard to turn off the television when this man is on it. And it's crazy to say that line based on the fact that this man never had national television time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with all due respect to Destination America, with all due respect to HDNet, with all due respect to Sinclair, this is a guy that influenced this business, whether it was in the ring or out of the ring, and was never on a national television stage. I could say so much more about Jay Briscoe, but as someone who's followed his career, like even the early Impact days, you know what I'm saying? Like it sucks. It sucks because 13 times wasn't even enough for this man. Right. And I think, you know, the more we discuss this man throughout the show and the watch along, I hopefully you fans who may have never seen a Briscoes match or never watched the early ROH DVDs, you know, hopefully this inspires you to, you know, go out there and get Honor Nation and see what we're talking about. You know, like Nick said, he started getting into him in 2013. There was 11 years before that this man did some amazing work. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully we can, you know, do Jay right as fans and, you know, talk about how great of a human being and performer that he truly was.
So it's not funny again, but you said how everyone sleeps on him being a phenomenal singles performer. But as I said, I met him as like a singles performer.
Yep.
And then you mentioned the TV thing. And as you know, at least back east, Ring of Honor comes on at all odd times when it was
right
on
after
TV.
SNL for us.
Yeah. And that, so my dad, it's funny you say SNL, my dad would watch SNL. And then my dad was just always up throughout the night, would watch Ring of Honor. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he grew up from me liking it. So my dad like kind of just naturally liked wrestling. And he actually hit me up about Jay's passing because my dad, you know, he just remembered him because Jay Briscoe is a guy you remember, just his character too as a whole you remember. And my dad's like, holy shit, I remember watching him from time to time after Saturday Night Live, blah, blah, blah. Because my dad would call me and was like, do you watch this Ring of Honor shit? And I'm like, you know, occasionally, but it's like, damn, like, you know what I mean? Like, dude left an impact even on casuals.
Yeah. It's funny that's actually how I got introduced into Ring of Honor because I used to work overnight, and I'd go because I was in charge, so I'd get like food for my crew and shit, take it upstairs to the break room. We had TV up there. I'd go up there and it was fucking wrestling on TV. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I think the first person I saw was like Roddy Strong. It was Roderick Strong versus, I can't remember who it was, but I know it was Roderick Strong was one of, because I remember he had that big ass forehead. And I'm like, damn, this motherfucker got a big forehead. So I was like, who the fuck is this? And I come to find out later it's Roderick Strong or whatever. But that's how I got introduced to Ring of Honor too. But one of the things I wanted to ask you guys was, I guess we can do this. What's your if you even have one, and it can be current, from any time. What's your favorite memory of the Briscoes? For me, honestly, one of the things that I urge people to go do if they're not familiar with the Briscoes, if I had to point somebody to something, that probably would have been a better question. If you could point someone to something, what would you point them to? I would tell you, go to YouTube and type in Briscoes Go Hunting for the Young Bucks and watch that promo. It's like, I think it's like 5 or 6 minutes long, bro. It gives you everything you need to know about these guys. These guys were nothing if not themselves, bro. They were chicken farmers. Like, that's what they were. These dudes are chicken farmers. It's not a gimmick. They didn't have all these cameras out there recording a vignette on a stage. Like, they were on their farm with all these dead chickens that they had to put down because they had gotten fucking sick and they lost $50,000 and they turned it into a promo. And at one point in this video, Jay just starts saying, man, fuck this shit, because his brother Mark says, man, we fucking killing on these chickens. We didn't even get to go hunting. And then Jay just fucking loses it because he was already upset, and this guy brought it up, and it brought those feelings back up that he was pissed. So he fucking walks off camera. He's like, fuck this shit. And they're bleeping it. And his wife is like, Jamin. And that's like one of the first times I ever heard her actually use his real name. She was like, Jamin. He's like, who the fuck you talking to? Like, he was walking up to his wife, like, who the fuck? Like, he just freaks out, walks off the fucking camera set. And then he's like, I'm going to go hunting. And then Mark is like, well, I ain't go hunting. You ain't going hunting. And I guess, I don't know what Jay did off camera, but Mark is looking at him like, oh, what? And he pulls a pocket knife. He pulls a pocket knife on his own brother. Like, bro, I would really highly recommend you guys go search that up yourself, watch it. That gives you a really good encapsulation of like their personalities and how they were, man.
Mine, go. Sorry, I'm gonna let you go after me, Bryan, because you're the fanatic and I'd say the historian on that.
I got a lot of stories of Jay in the clan.
But mine, because like with Ring of Honor, as I've always said, I don't think I've ever been a consistent watcher, but I've gone back and watched a lot, hopped the years. One that stood out to me, and I'm thinking like modern, like you said, if I had to tell someone, the cage match he had with Samoa Joe. That was really dope from back in the day, and he looks nothing like how he looks now then too. So I'd say that just because blood, it was just intense. It's modern wrestling. You see him with a bigger modern name now, and you, like you said, I love tag team wrestling, but I love seeing tag team wrestlers who shine as singles, and like I said, he is one of them.
Well, I can give you guys a personal story. I can give you guys matches. I'll start off with the match. Like one of my favorite tag team matches of all time, and I've said this on the UWO a bunch of times. It always goes back to good times, great memories. It was the night that Colt Cabana was actually leaving to go to WWE, and it was a matchup in which the Briscoes were defending the titles against the Murder City Machine Guns, and this is before they were the Motor City Machine Guns. But it was Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin. And one of the reasons why I love this matchup so much when it comes to tag team pure wrestling is you can watch that match and then you can go and watch, FTR versus Alpha Academy. And you can go and watch, the Usos and the New Day. And you can see that this style was happening on the independent circuit before it was truly being shown on, the mainstream television professional wrestlers, even with Impact too. But I always go to this match because a lot of people know the Briscoes for being like these hard-hitting, violent guys who are always bleeding and stuff. But when you want to talk about like pure technical like wrestling and tag team wrestling, it's like, they don't get that prop enough. Like, to go in the ring with a guy like Chris Sabin, who at that time was like this young, athletic, high flyer, and a guy like Alex Shelley, who another person who doesn't get enough credit nowadays. And on Busted Open, they talk about giving flowers to wrestlers. Like Alex Shelley has, redefined professional wrestling. And we see it everywhere through guys like Seth Rollins and stuff like that. And like Kenny Omega's, like Shelley was doing that stuff first, and to see those four guys go out there and put on a 30-minute banger, and that crowd ate everything up. that 30 minutes goes by like that watching that match, whether it's the comedy, whether it's the the breaking up of like tags, or like just a guy who's on the apron, his partner's in the submission hold, and they're like, you know what, I got 5 seconds, I'm just gonna go in there and break it up and hop right back out, hold on to the camera. Like just little things like that. It was so entertaining. When it comes to like a promo or something, I always say that the Briscoes are underrated with their promos. If you guys do yourself a favor, go on YouTube and look up when Jay Briscoe had to get stripped of the title from Ring of Honor when he injured his shoulder. And not the promo of him drinking and he's pissed off and cursing at the camera. The video of his entire family giving him an intervention. Like, this man's ready to go bow hunting, and Papa Briscoe's like, you can't go bow hunting with a bad shoulder. And he just pulls that bow back with that bad shoulder. And anyone who's seen the shoulder, just imagine like your collarbone right here popped up into the back over here, like on the side of your neck. Like,
yeah, nope.
Just imagine trying to take a bow and pulling it back, and either pulling it or holding it in place. And then,
I'm all set. I'm all set.
Yeah, and then, Papa Briscoe's like, you can't go out like that. And all he kept doing was drinking during the day, and he's going bow hunting with a pistol. And they just have these edits where Jay's sitting there drunk, talking to the camera with a cigarette or like a cigar in his mouth. Like, you know what I'm saying? Whether you shoot a deer or you know what I'm saying, you hit him with a bow, it ain't gonna make a difference. As long as there's meat in the freezer, we good. Like, it just the comedy works with it so well. And when it comes to like personal things, like, I don't know if you guys ever heard about the infamous Briscoe RV that goes around the shows. Back in the early years when I used to go to shows, my first show that I ever went to was a show called A Fight at the Roxbury. If you can ever find that in the Ring of Honor DVD catalog, that was the very first show that I went to. And on that card, Jay Briscoe was in the main event, and he was one of the reasons why I went. He was going for the world title against a guy named Takeshi Morishima. And earlier on in the night, Mark was fighting Kevin Steen, who's now known as Kevin Owens, for those who don't know. And prior to the show, I always tell the story of me bumping into BJ Whitmer, who currently works for Ring of Honor, hitting on my ex-girlfriend. What I never tell people about that story is later on that night when the show is over, they end the show with a brawl between Steen and Generico and the Briscoes because they come out and interfere after the match is over. After the show was over, my ex-girlfriend at the time, and I have another funny thing about Jay Briscoe for some reason, my last two ex-girlfriends, my ex-wife and my current wife, all have a thing for Jay Briscoe. I don't know what it is, but I date women who like Jay Briscoe. It's weird as hell. But after the show, I see this rusty-ass RV outside of the building. And me and my ex are outside having a smoke, you know what I'm saying, smoking a J. And we're looking at this RV. We're like, man, this thing is big but raggedy. And come to find out, it was the Briscoes' RV. Because they come walking out of the back, them two, their girlfriends, Papa Briscoe, Mama Briscoe, and I just see them walk into this RV. And I'm not a camera picture taker. I'm not like an Instagram poster. So I don't have the photo evidence of this. But I will never forget bumping into them and just saying what up and telling them I drove from Rhode Island to Roxbury to come check out this match. And they're like, oh, did you have a good time? Jay and Mark sat out there for a good 5 minutes with me, just talking that shit. Papa Briscoe goes into the RV, comes back out with beers, offers us a beer, and I was like, I can't drink because I got to drive back. My girl had a beer with them. They all cheersed it up. It was one of the coolest fucking moments I ever had as a pro wrestling fan. And that's one of the reasons why I will always stand by what Ring of Honor has done and the commitment they have to their fans. And that day forward, Jay Briscoe was one of those people in pro wrestling to me that and Mark as well. You know, I know this is about Jay, but as fans, we can't forget about Mark, and I'm praying for Mark just as much as the rest of his family. I always had love for them boys. And not only that, the talent that these two guys exerted and the journey that they went on is a story that I watched from beginning. And unfortunately, now I can say to the end of Jay's life. And it sucks to say that, but it's one of those stories that, you know, whether I have children in the future or, you know, my children that I have now with my current girl or my current wife, it's something that I will always show them because it's such an amazing story of two brothers who went from backyarders to we don't even talk about this, but to the fact that these two boys were a pillar, to the fact that Ring of Honor was able to perform and sell out Madison Square Garden. Yep. Like, them boys did it. Like, they made it to MSG. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I got nothing but love for this man, Jay Briscoe, and his family. Like they were just awesome people, awesome wrestlers, awesome performers. They're just top notch in my book, man.
Yeah, you got to think selling out, helping tremendously sell out Madison Square Garden. Like you can talk about, yeah, I performed in AT&T or Arthur Ashe Stadium, whatever, but every wrestler wants to perform in MSG. So not only did you perform, but you're part of the sellout, you know?
I mean, if you think about it, they were part of the biggest story that happened that night. It was them, and when Enzo and Cash jumped the railing, who did they fight?
Yeah,
they fought the Briscoes.
I'll never forget that.
Actually,
That was what,
about that shit.
2019, I think? 2019?
Yeah, that was the same night that Bret Hart got attacked the year before COVID.
Yeah. I
completely forgot about that Enzo and Cass thing where they jumped the rail. Wasn't Bully there also?
Yeah, Bully was there too. He was one of the guys who helped break everything up.
Because that was an ROH New Japan show, if I remember.
He was not happy.
Supercard.
Yeah, because that was Mania weekend. Yeah, you just said Hall of Fame. Yeah, it was Mania weekend. Yeah, and it sucks too because he would have been. Because I told Lou, I don't know if you heard it yet, Bryan, but probably by now. But the ROH is doing a show, which is conveniently because that's AEW, a lot of AEW talent as well. But Mania weekend here in LA, and I probably would have gone to see. So kind of sad.
Yeah.
I don't know where they're doing it, but somewhere in LA. Not the Forum though.
Okay.
But somewhere cool. Regardless. Yeah, them boys. So I'm gonna ask you guys one quick question before we start. I said mine the other day on the pod. I've always wanted to see the Usos and Briscoes, just a match, similar styles. We were saying off air how the Usos are kind of rip off in a way of that, the way they dress, present themselves, things like that, right? So very similar. But for you guys, whether it's single or tag, like what's something you've wanted to see that sadly we won't be able to?
I mean, they've wrestled almost everybody.
They have, to be honest.
Like everybody. Honestly, I think I don't remember if they have wrestled Penta and Phoenix, but I would have liked to have seen fucking Penta and Phoenix Lucha Brothers versus Briscoes match. For sure. I just watched, I didn't watch the match you were talking about, Bryan, but I watched the because I've been watching their matches all week. I watched them wrestle Motor City Machine Guns where they won the titles. And that was a fucking fantastic match. But yeah, I think I'd go with Penta and Phoenix, man. I think that would have been I hate talking about that shit like that. Like it's such a final thing. Like fuck, man, it fucking sucks, dude.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I'm Nick. I've been preaching that for decades. I wanted Briscoes versus the Usos. It's like, with all due respect to the New Day, with all due respect to FTR, and I'm not saying this in any way, shape, or form, trying to disrespect the Usos when I say this, but in my eyes, they have always been like the best tag team out there besides the Briscoes. I've always said they were number 2. And with all due respect to FTR, that everyone's been championing FTR, I always say, until you fight them boys, you can't take claim to be number 1, you know, and they did. They got their wins. They got the 2 out of 3 falls win. So for now, and unfortunately going forward, and I'm trying to be so respectful when I say this, FTR right now is number 1 in my eyes, you know, because unfortunately the Briscoe brothers are no more, you know. But when it comes to that ultimate dream match, I always wanted them and the Usos. Unfortunately, like we discussed offline, there were reasons that they were being held apart, you know. We see now, you know, unfortunately after Jay's passing, that there must have been some type of communication between the 2 teams. I know they've definitely met before because I've heard stories of how the Briscoes have been to, you know, WWE house shows and events. So they may have crossed paths in real life outside of professional wrestling or, you know, in the back and stuff. But it was a match that we were never able to get. And I always say that, and like I said, I don't want to disrespect the Usos, but to me, it's always been the Usos were the demolition to these guys, you know, Legion of Doom / Road Warriors.
Yeah. Like that's a great comparison, honestly. That's really good.
But to me, it's always been true. And I know to some fans who may not have, you know, followed the Briscoes' career, and I know, like you guys said, you caught on to them later on in their careers, but I've always seen that parallel. And from the day, like I said, they turned into the Uso Penitentiary, it was like, well, now you're just basically blatantly ripping off the Briscoes because it's pretty much the same thing. You know what I mean? Like I even say it right now. If you go ahead and look at main event Jey Uso, his haircut is just like Mark's hair was. You know, Jimmy got the long hair, Jay got the short hair. Jay always had the long hair for the Briscoes, except for when they went for the bald look. Mark always had the crazy wild hair. You know what I mean? They were two brothers. You know, it's always like it's cool to have tag teams put together that aren't blood. You know, like the New Day and the Dudleys and Edge and Christian, but there's always something when you get brothers in a ring, like the magic that we get from the Hardys and the Young Bucks. You know, we can only get because it's four men in there and two of them are blood on each side. You know, I always wanted to see that matchup because they were two of the best tag teams over the past 10 years. And unfortunately, like I said, for reasons that we could not control as fans, we never got that matchup.
Yep. You ready to kick this, Lou?
Yeah, man. Yeah, so again, I guess what we'll do is let me get it set up here.
Well, Lou gets it set up for those. I'll try to drag this out for a second if you want to catch up, peoples. We're going to watch along. I'm speaking slowly. FTR and Briscoe dog collar match, which you can find on YouTube. So if you would like to watch, once again, the FTR Briscoe's dog collar match with us as we speak.
Yeah, if you just type in FTR Briscoes, it should pop up right there for you. It has the full running time. So yeah, if you guys want to pull that up real quick, we'll kind of.
I just gotta lower the volume.
Patty cake here. Play a little patty cake while you do that, and yeah. So I'm gonna count down from 3, and then on 3, I guess we'll hit play, and then from there we'll just.
So I'm gonna be that guy that they do in all the movies. So is it like 1, 2, 3, go?
Is it?
Or 1, 2, 3? Like, so on 3, are we punching, or on 3 are we waiting for go and punching? I'm gonna be that guy.
I figured it's 1, 2, 3. You hit the button on 3.
Got it.
So
Got it.
All right.
So press
There's
on
got to
go.
be a better way to do this, but this is how we're gonna do it. So 1, 2, 3. Hey,
Look at that. With them
this is good
titles.
because it even has the little build up and shit before the match, which I like. So I didn't actually, because sometimes these have cuts in them. I'm pretty sure it doesn't have cuts because I kind of skipped here and there and watched like a minute or two, and it was fine. So I'm pretty sure this is the match in its entirety. What did you think about that Ass Boys thing?
Well, like
having read the card and.
I mean, personally, if you weren't able, like we said, if it was something that Warner was really blocking them from being visibly seen on television, I mean, it was cool because at the same time, it was working on the FTR Ass Boy storyline that was going on after. So I liked the little tie-in, but it was kind of cool because they opened up the presidents and they were like, "Oh, look, you guys get dog collars. Here's a letter from them boys written in blood." I loved it. I enjoyed that.
This took place in Mass, didn't it? This pay-per-view, I think, right?
The dog collar match.
Yeah, it took place in Mass. I think Lowell.
No. Mass was the first match.
Okay.
I actually wanted to go to that pay-per-view. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it. But
did Ring of Honor ever come to Providence?
Yeah, they did a couple house shows and they did a pay-per-view years ago. It was the main event was Kevin Steen versus Eddie Kingston for the ROH title.
I'm gonna have to go. Was the pay-per-view? I'm assuming at the Dunk.
Yeah, no, it was actually at the convention center.
Okay, were all their shows always at the convention center?
Yeah, when they came to Providence, it was always at the convention center. Actually, in the earlier years of Ring of Honor, they actually did it off what was it? Westminster Street.
Reach for the sky.
Theme song is a banger, bro.
It is.
I've been listening to that shit on repeat because it's on YouTube. Just have my little headphones in at work and I play that shit like 6 times an hour.
Those jackets.
Yeah, buddy.
It's just, what you loved about the Briscoes in general gave me that vibe. Like, yeah, we're just gonna go out there and beat the piss out of each other. Not like, oh, don't hit me too hard. Kind of, how some like they're like those that lay it in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but Jay's the one that knocked his fucking brother Steve out with that chair shot.
That's the truth.
Fucking ripped his whole shit.
If you guys want something else funny to see, look up Mark Briscoe's Christmas gift. he sells his teeth on eBay, and he does like a 2-minute infomercial trying to sell his teeth. It's hilarious.
Oh shit.
Jeez.
Man, it's like I said yesterday, I watched that Eddie Kingston homicide match with these guys, and that was like I don't want to say peak ROH, but everything about that match, from the atmosphere of it and the match that they had and the even the announcing, it kind of took me back, because I remember watching those shows and it was so different than like WWE, because obviously WWE was the only other thing going besides like TNA.
Yeah.
And fucking Ring of Honor was just so different, man, because I wasn't so ingrained in like a lot of indies, and it just took me back, man. It just took me back watching that freaking episode, which is also on YouTube, guys, if you also want to watch that.
It's kind of nuts looking at the like rewatch. This is my first time rewatching it. That FTR got no belts
Same
now.
here.
They got no belts now.
0 titles.
0.
Yeah, they're on a little extended vacation there. They might want to think twice about running back home to top of age. There's a lot of turmoil happening over there.
I said the same thing. I'm like, good thing they're taking these couple months off. Figure out
Hopefully,
what you want to do.
hopefully they didn't sign that contract in permanent pen. Hopefully, a erasable pen. Yeah.
One thing I love about this match that I remember from when I watched it the first time is that immediately they put those fucking collars on, and immediately the fuckery begins. There's no feeling out process. There's no tugging on the chain. It's just
right
madness. Right.
Isn't it like, bro? Isn't it like beautiful? I guess I'm just trying to need. There's probably a better word though. Like how he did pass as a champ, though. Yeah. Like it's just only fitting.
On top, man. They went out on top. They had that trilogy of matches. Everyone was better than the next. And man, they went out as champions, man. There's, it's poetic. Unfortunately, it's kind of like a weird way to say it, but I'm really glad that they were able to have that moment, man.
What do you think the 4 of them were thinking when they got presented with this match idea?
Let's tear the house down.
Yeah, let's get it.
Because this is a match, obviously, it's been done more recently, now that AEW obviously is using it, which I love these types of matches, but this is a physical fucking match, like in general.
And that's always been the thing about the Briscoes. They've always been physical. It's never been like, go in here, what do? Let's get your shit in. It's like, no, we're gonna do stuff to you and we're gonna make it look good and bring it right back to us. And like I said, it's been like that their entire careers.
You better get the fuck out of that ring, ref.
Yeah, the crowd.
I don't know why they have a ref. You better get your ass out the ring.
The crowd's instantly popping.
Mm-hmm.
I love that when he's like slings the chain.
Yeah.
The holy shit chance already.
Holy shit chance. This match just fucking bell just rang. It's already holy shit chance. Well, this guy's got a fight like an 8-year-old girl shirt.
Could you now? I'm not saying Ring of Honor is not a major promotion. So before we go there, but would you say outside of like major companies, they're probably the most popular wrestlers? I feel like everyone knows the Briscoes.
Oh, easily.
Yeah, I mean,
I think, especially in America too, like you got to remember when Ring of Honor first started, it wasn't supposed to be like a storyline promotion. It was supposed to be just like King of the Indies type thing, where it's like the best independent wrestlers from around the world were all there. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then these young and up and coming guys in the Briscoes were just a tag team that were there. And they put on banger matches every time when they would lose. It was to the point where it was like, okay, well, it's time to give these boys some shine. And even during the transitional years in the beginning, when Rob Feinstein owned the company and all of his drama happened and got rid of it and sold it to Kerry Silkin, they knew they had something with these two like homegrown guys. You know what I'm saying? And they never missed.
It's insane how quick they bled in this match. I'm pretty sure Jay's right. Jay's already busted open, I think.
Oh, no, Mark's already bleeding, bro. Mark is bleeding bad. Boom. And I think Jay starts bleeding like shortly right after this.
Shortly after, yeah.
I will tell you right now, nobody bleeds like Jay Briscoe bleeds. I've said that forever.
Yeah, Mark's fucked up.
So crazy, man. People who watch this shit, like, I know, you have your subset of people out there who don't understand why the fuck we're watching this.
He throws the water.
You don't understand how fucking dangerous this match is with these guys being tied to each other like this, man.
'Cause you can pull your shit the wrong
That's what
way.
you get. Yeah, like you get. That's part of like the whole thing. It's just like these guys are literally putting their lives on the line to do this shit. Because come on, man, these guys are chained together. Fucking like this shit is crazy, bro.
I mean,
And I
you
don't care
gotta-
how that chain hurts to get hit with.
I was gonna say, you also got to think too, as someone who's not a performer, but like just as a human being, like think about how coordinated you have to be to not get tangled up in that chain. How to like be prepared for whatever's about to happen next, and make sure the chain's in the right spot and move the right way, so you're not tangling yourself.
Like how he jumped off the ring apron and all that.
Yep.
Look at him busted open.
Oh shit,
Crazy chicken.
dude, man. Fucking cannonball, fucking plancha, bro. To the floor. Oh, it's insane. I say, and I say, like, this is like the best tag team match I've ever seen. It's probably blasphemy to a lot of people because when you say it's the best tag team match I've seen, you expect like Bret Hart, like the Hart Foundation versus like some other technical team, you know, like you want to see pure technical wrestling. But this to me is like, it's just dudes going out there and just
See,
giving it
I
everything they got.
I love technical wrestling, especially in the tags, but I've always been one of them. The more people involved in the match, the crazier it should be.
Oh, yes.
That's just me. Like, so a tag match, 4 people, like, just go to the fucking wall. Like, yeah, technical is cool and all. Don't get me wrong. Some great technical tag matches, but yeah.
How about that match on Wednesday, man? Did you see fucking Dynamite, Bryan?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You see fucking Bandito and Danielson?
Yo, Tony Khan
Bandito is so underrated, man.
What
like,
the fuck was that match, man?
I need to watch more of him. Like I known about him. I've seen him in a bunch of like different spots, like doing stuff for Ring of Honor before he was even champion. But I never realized how good that guy really is, man. He is really, really good.
Bro, they went out there and, you know, I was expecting Bandito and to come out flying and Danielson to probably try to like ground him. The motherfucker started having a technical wrestling match.
Yeah.
I was like,
Lou, what about Tony Khan must listen to the show? Because again, we were bitching about how Bandito was on Elevation. Literally, I'm at Dynamite because I was at that one in the forum where the Young Bucks won the titles.
Oh, you went there? Nice.
Yeah, okay. Because I'm only like 45 minutes from there.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And I saw Bandito. I was like, this motherfucker listens.
Hey, Tony Khan, we need a grant. We need a grant, bro.
Bandito to me is so underrated, man. I really want to see more of him.
He's so good.
Yeah, right now, Bandito, like last year and this year, he's my, besides Ospreay, because I'm fucking always singing the praises of Ospreay, but Bandito's my favorite, man. Bandito is so good. He's not the biggest guy, but that dude is strong as fuck. Like he's super criminally, irrationally strong.
That top rope like fall away flip that he does, like I get nervous every time he goes for it, man.
I love how they did the camera angles in this match, like splitting the cameras that time so you see everyone. Because sometimes they don't do that; they just focus on the one guys.
Yeah.
And you know, I know this is like we're shining light on Jay here, and I know FTR does get a lot of praise, but it's like, man, I give them a lot of respect because they don't need to be doing this, bro. They don't need to be putting their bodies out there like on the line, like in matches like this. They could, you know, kind of coast and take it easy and have really good matches, but these motherfuckers, they're willing to do anything, and I gotta respect that.
Dax was one of my low-key wrestlers of the year for 2022.
Oh, he was number 2 for me overall.
Yeah, he had a fucking phenomenal year.
Win or loss, like Dax was tearing it up. And
bro, he's punching him in the forehead. He's punching him in the forehead.
He's literally punching his forehead.
He's literally punching him in the forehead.
That's an art form that Bret Hart used to always talk about. He goes, I can go full blast and catch you in the face and won't hurt you. You know what I mean? It just goes to show how good these boys are.
I'll never forget, Bryan, when I first met you, speaking like punching in the face. When I don't know if you were training. I think you were training, and you were telling me because I didn't know this till you. The whole like stopping thing, like this, or whatever. You were telling me whatever, and then you said that one dude just kept on potatoes.
Oh yeah, no, I have a story of when I was training. This kid that I was training with, we were working punches. Like our trainer had us in like a circle where we were working punches. And this one kid in our class was like the stiff kid, and he didn't realize he was stiff. Like he was also short. So anytime, like, he was on my left side, so we were going in a circle. Oh, he was on my left side. We were going in a circle, and every time he went to me, he would catch me at the draw, but he would connect every time. So they're like, all right, switch. And the kid goes, oh, I got to get a drink. My teacher goes, no, you're staying right there. And he knew the first punch I threw was going to be a receipt. First chance I got, whack, caught him. Like, just, damn near dropped the kid. He goes, yo, he blasted me. I'm like, yeah, that's because you connected every time. You're not supposed to connect. But
That's what happens.
there's Jay. There he's bleeding like a stuffed
Look at him. Jay wide open.
every time.
Jay
Man.
is busted open, kid.
If you want
Like,
to
even see, like you're saying, the coordination piece, like you were saying, like, look what they're doing right here on the
Yeah,
top rope.
There's a million ways this could go bad. Like a
Yeah,
million
with
ways.
one, especially because he's outside the ring, so the chain
Yep.
could have pulled. Like, look at Jay.
And another thing, when we talk about like FTR going against the Briscoes, right? This is another thing that I loved about these guys, and it goes to show how good they truly are. When teams were to leave WWE, one of the teams they had to go through was the Briscoes, because it's like,
Yeah.
all due respect to FTR, like them versus the Young Bucks, was it a dream match? Yes. But it's like, all right, now you guys are out of WWE. You guys are free. I got to see you against the Briscoes. And they wanted this match. And not only did they get it, they got 3 of them. And this
Yeah, because
brings
they
me
used
back-
to talk a bunch of shit on Twitter.
Yeah, they were going. There's a lot going back and forth about them because the Briscoes were that team. Like, you remember when Cody left WWE and he made the list that he was like, I want to wrestle all of these people. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Briscoes to me were always going to be that list. It's like, if FTR does not fight the Briscoes, they can't say they're the best in the world.
Yeah.
Did Cody complete that list?
Yeah, I think within a year, within his first year, he completed it.
Yeah.
This is a spot that I can't, dude. Come on, man.
Yeah, like, see, like, you can't convince me to do this. You know, I'd probably end up getting convinced.
For those of you just listening, I don't know why you're listening. You should be watching this along with us, but
Yes.
Cash is choking Mark
Oh.
over the top rope with the fucking dog collar. My God, dude.
Cash was in the middle of the ring. Mark was dangling outside of it.
Yeah, that's just.
I've always loved how, like, Jay, like, their hair, they've always pulled that off good, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
And I know we're gonna see it later, but it's just that fucking Jay Driller as a finisher is I've only come to around on it and loved it like recently, because that's a fucking, that shit looks devastating. Like, there's certain moves that look like shit, but that move, man, looks fucking like it's just the greatest fucking move.
And
like, that's a finisher. Nobody should be kicking out of that.
And I'll tell you right now, and one thing I learned when I trained as a wrestler is when you come up with a finishing move, you got to be able to hit it on anybody. Ooh, the froggy bow with a chain on it.
Froggy bow.
Like I said, the very first show I ever went to was Jay Briscoe fighting in the main event against a guy named Takeshi Morishima. I don't know if you guys know who he is, but do yourself a favor.
Yeah, I've heard him.
And Google that man. He is a 6 foot, I want to say like 6'2", 6'3" Japanese guy who weighed about like 300 pounds, who would move around the ring like he's Keith Lee. Jay was able to get him up and hit him with the Jay Driller, and literally held him up there, took a step or two, and then dropped him on his head. Like, Jay is underratedly strong, man.
And it's crazy too, because like you look at their bodies, like they're obviously not in bad shape, but he doesn't look like he'd be that strong, you know?
Yeah. I always say it's the country boy strength. Like, look at guys like Brock Lesnar.
Yeah,
that
that's
are just
that Brock
strong.
Lesnar strength, boy.
Yeah. So like obviously I've met people from everywhere, and they always say like the cornfield strength.
Yep.
That's a real thing. Them country boys, country boy strength's a real fucking thing.
It's a real thing. It's legit a real thing.
It's just from working in the farms.
Up at like 3 a.m., getting ready to milk the cows, you know, move the hay.
Carrying hail bales.
Yep.
Hail bales and shit.
Bro, how can you?
I'm always going to be a
with all
mark.
that blood in
I'm
your face?
always going to be a mark for a table spot. Like I always will be.
okay.
Like
Same
I
here.
feel with things like I'm always like, there's always a part of me as a child watching, like, yes, put him through the table.
You know what I liked
Like
about
I'm that
this?
guy
Folks?
when I'm at a wrestling show and the We Want Tables start, I'm chanting because I legitimately want tables, not because I want to be cool and fit in with the crowd.
Yeah, no, but you saying that, what was cool about that is they pulled the table out, but nobody was chanting we wanted tables. They just were like, yeah, I'm bringing a table out.
Table. Yep.
Because they were so into the match. I think sometimes when you get chants in a match, it's not that you're not into the match, but you're not 100% in.
Yeah.
Like everyone's 100% invested in watching this.
The ref gave up. He's like outside. He's like, I can't. I'm not doing this.
Oh, I can wait for the ref
get another ref
match too. I just remember.
Oh, they have a second ref outside. Okay.
Being a ref in this match has got to be kind of hard. Yeah, you don't have to like control anything, but you really got to make sure these motherfuckers ain't hurt either.
Yeah.
Bro, Cash is. Oh my god.
This could have went horribly wrong.
Yeah, this annoyed me when I watched it because I felt like he was up there forever trying to wrap this thing around his head, and I was like, "Come on, man!" But look at this; he's literally wrapping it around his neck. Like,
he
look at these people are like, "What are you doing?"
It's like a super there you go, bang.
Yeah, he just was like, "Fuck it."
Yeah, he said,
"He got enough of it." He got enough of it on there. Like, I understood the point.
I'm always, once again, gonna be a mark, and I'm pretty sure FTR did on purpose, wearing white when you know there's gonna be blood, like like Anarchy in the arena, like how everyone was wearing white, and I was there, and I was just like, oh my god, like white and blood is just meant to be.
It works
because that's something I would do if I wrestled.
It's one thing I always heard about in the wrestling business: red equals green.
Yeah, it's true.
It draws money.
Except some people bitch online when women bleed, but that's a whole other conversation.
Oh.
It's a whole other thing.
Ruby was fucking, my god. That girl had crimson mask. She had the Stone Cold crimson mask on.
Like, good for them, but what I don't want to.
That was a great match. Like, legit.
It was.
People really suck, man. Oh,
there it is. That's the ref spot.
The ref bleeds in this match too, bro. That's one of those.
Yeah,
things
that. How often is that? How often has that happened?
Really,
I've never seen that before, bro.
I can't think of it.
Everybody's bleeding. The guys are bleeding. The ref's bleeding. Everyone's bleeding. Everybody in the crowd should just start bleeding.
There it is. Look at all that.
I love the fan they just showed in the front row, just hanging over the rail with his beer, just like, yep, I'm enjoying these men beat the piss out of each other.
And that's what old school wrestling used to be, man. It's just like, I don't care about who's doing what or what storyline's going on. I just want to see people fighting. And
bro, I swear to God,
guys out there just start swinging.
Honestly, man, when the ref slumped back in that corner and they showed the first shot of him bleeding, I was just like, I remember I was just yelling out, "This is the fucking greatest match ever!" Like, it's just the greatest match ever.
He's pissing blood out.
Yeah,
like he's not. That ain't a small spot.
I think he bladed a little too deep.
Those trademark Jay Briscoe jabs.
Yep.
Oof.
Boom. Boom.
Fucking face. That's one thing about Dax. I love it. He's so snappy, bro.
He is.
It's just a slap in the face.
There's a photo of them before after, right? In the back having a drink together. Yep. I thought so.
Yeah, I think Dax posted it after he found out about the
Lou, that might have to be the photo. Yeah, that might have to be the photo for this one.
Yeah, it's always a struggle trying to figure out what photo we're gonna use to. Oh my god, that's gotta hurt, bro. That's gotta hurt. Yeah, so if you heard in the beginning of the show, I added the Reach for the Sky into our intro there. I'm gonna play that as long as I'm allowed. We're gonna see how it goes when I upload it.
Until we get taken down one day.
If somebody says take it down, then I'll just go back to the old.
But
if I can have that shit there forever, I'm gonna have it there forever.
Here comes the redneck kung fu.
Oof. He's just chopping him in the neck. That's a brutal elbow, bro.
That's another thing I want to say about the Briscoes, and especially Jay too. It's like, as a wrestling fan, like we understand there's gimmicks in the business. You know, some people are playing characters, some people are good at it, some people are horrible. But it's like they seemed so real. Like when you see these boys, whether it's cutting a promo, walking to the ring, or when the bell rings itself, it's like you look at these guys and you're like, all right, I'm about to see some shit.
Yeah.
You know, like they were two of the realest guys in the business. And their homage to the LOD.
Oh, he decided against that table spot. He's like, nah,
but here goes Crazy
you're going
Mark.
through it anyway.
Man. Dude, that's gotta hurt so bad.
Mark is taking a fucking ass kick in this match, bro.
Yeah, he bled what? How quick into the match? 5 minutes?
Immediately.
Not even.
He is taking a fucking ass kicking.
Is Cash the only? Is Cash?
I actually got a funny story about that spot he just did coming off the top rope. At the night, the fight at the Roxbury show, the first show that I went to, right? When it was him and Kevin Steen, there's a specific spot during the match, right, where Mark Briscoe is going up to the top rope.
Jay Driller.
Yep, there it is. 1, 2,
2.
But no, so like there's a spot on that match. If you guys ever find the show, right? There's a part where Steen's on the mat, he's laid out, Mark's climbing the top rope. He actually looks at me because he's going up and I'm doing this to do the shooting star press. He looks over at me and does this. And as he's looking at me and does this, Steen comes up, punches him in the gut, and throws him through a table on the outside.
Oh,
So
shit.
every time I see that show, I always look back and I'm like, Mark's pointing at me, he's talking to me, he's doing this, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, Mark.
It's all your fault.
It's all my fault. He went through that table.
Look at Jay, man. Jeez.
Bro, he completely cleared that table and just landed on chairs on his lower back. I'm still not over that spot.
When's the last time we saw someone take a legit chair shot to the head? Was it Cody?
I saw some real sweet ones.
Didn't Cody take one on Dynamite?
He took a couple on Dynamite.
Yeah, but Cody's
you
crazy,
go back
bro.
and watch
Cody
even
does shit. Well,
ECW and all that shit. Like dog.
Cody was doing shit in AEW that didn't make no type of sense, bro. That whole fire thing.
Going through, on fire on the table.
Fuck, dude. Why your pretty ass is trying to maim yourself? I have no idea.
And I will say this: there is nobody that bleeds like Briscoe. If you want an example of that, look up the Ladder War pay-per-view. I believe I forgot which pay-per-view it was, but it was the first Ladder War with them versus Steen and Generico. After the match was over, the Age of the Fall group was debuting, and it involved, a guy by the name of Tyler Black, who does something in WWE now. I can't remember, but him and Jimmy Jacobs and the Necro Butcher debuted. After the match was over, the Briscoes won. Spoiler alert. And Jay was already bleeding. And they literally took him and hung him by his feet upside down on top, like in the arena where the belts were, like up in the air. And Jimmy Jacobs stands underneath him in an all-white jacket and cuts like a 6-minute promo with Jay just dripping blood down on him to the point where the entire white jacket was crimson red. His head looked like he just came out the shower. It was one of the most, like, if you're squeamish, please don't watch it. But if you enjoy pro wrestling and you're not afraid of a little blood or a lot of blood, definitely check that match out.
If you find that, you got to send that my way.
Yeah, you got to jump on Honor Club. I'm sure that shit's on Honor Club.
Yeah, they used to have these things before they got on TV. They had these things called the Video Wire, which was like their 10-minute YouTube videos that they would release every week. But yeah, if I could find that one particular part because of the fact that it wasn't shown on the pay-per-view, quote unquote. They cut the feed because it was too graphic, but the video of it was released by Ring of Honor on a Video Wire. I'll look for that after while we're doing this.
That's almost like the
gruesome.
Raven thing. The Raven had to come out and apologize.
Yeah. Like, remember
that's like one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite things in pro wrestling ever. That fucking apology.
That he had to come out. I'm sorry. I had to do it.
He had to use them big ass words.
Yeah.
I apologize for my use of religious iconography.
Yes.
Like half the people in that fucking crowd don't know
like,
what the fuck you're talking about, bro.
Mean?
Yeah.
They're like, a kind of what? Oh Lord, this reminded me of the Mike Awesome Masato Tanaka spot.
That was one of my favorites. The power bomb off the top rope.
Oh,
backwards power bomb off the top rope through a broken table, bro. That's a fuck out of here, bro. There ain't no way. You can't pay me enough.
Oh boy.
Yeah, this is so much blood.
Those trunks are not white anymore.
No.
That's it.
You can barely see the dates on them.
Oh, super fucking plex, bro. On 2 chairs.
That ring is covered.
That's one thing I'm always amazed at. Well, obviously, this was the main event, right?
Yes.
There wasn't after this. It's like, how do you not have this as the main event? Like, how do you clean the ring enough for another match after this? These guys have been kicking each other's ass outside the ring like the whole match.
They've been trying to get in that ring for like a good 5 minutes now, and one person ain't letting the other one in. Like Mark's just like on the floor pulling.
Mark's like, you ain't going nowhere, fool.
Oh yeah, here we go. Ugh.
Crossface with the chain.
Bro, you might want to tap out, bro. Dax, he can't. He's not coming, bro. He's not coming.
It looked like he was tapping right there. That's the sad part.
There's
the tap.
There it is.
You've won the belt, but at what cost?
Yeah.
13 times, man. Mm-hmm. He is done completely. You imagine 30 minutes of a 30-minute ass kicking.
And the crazy thing is, it didn't even feel like 30 minutes.
No, that felt like a 15 match, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Man, yeah, that's just that. The other matches are not on YouTube, so and I'm not sure if they're even on Honor Club because they were on pay-per-views. They should be though, because they usually put their pay-per-views on there afterwards. But I really want to watch those other two matches, the previous two, especially the first one because it was so anticipated. Like,
yeah. Did we think Mark got it the worst in this one?
I mean, Mark took some of the worst, but you could say Dax did too, because look at all the stuff.
Yeah, I would say Cash got off easy this match. He really, I mean,
he's the pretty boy. He's the pretty boy of them, though.
It's easy for me to say, but
yeah, tough motherfucker, though.
Yeah. Here comes the bloody referee taking it off.
Yeah, they gotta take that shit off.
For real. There's those platinum belts, bro.
And can I just say, I love the fact Ring of Honor went back to the old school titles. I hated the ones they had for the past couple of years. They look,
man,
they didn't look like ROH.
I do have to disagree on that. That world title, I think that gold world title that's a beautiful fucking belt, man.
Oh no, it is. Don't get me wrong. The belt looked nice. Like the tag belts, didn't like them. I don't like the way the 6-man titles look. But the old school ROH with just the big ass ROH, like for me, it was always like that thing. Like it was always that title.
Because this shit's platinum, baby.
See the
my man's on the turnbuckle, just dead.
And FYI, Kyle O'Reilly, Mark was doing the air guitar years ago.
Oh yeah.
Where is Kyle? Yeah. Kyle hurt.
He had surgery. Last I heard, he just had surgery again.
Yeah, supposedly he had surgery, and then he was having complications in the rehab process. So he's still.
Is he still under contract? Because I know Bobby Fish only signed a 1-year deal.
Yeah, from what I heard, O'Reilly's still there.
Fuck that guy.
And see, look at that. The respect. They walk right out the ring, clap him up.
I met that security guy.
Oh, you said you met the security guy?
Yeah, so when we were there for Double or Nothing, we were walking through, because we went a couple days early, and we were walking through the Mandalay Bay to, I didn't know where they were staying. I'm on one of them. But I guess that's where the superstars, the wrestlers and whatever were staying, was at the Mandalay Bay, because we were going there for a pool party. And, all the security was out there. And I think I had a Hardy shirt on. And they're like, "Oh, you're going to the show?" And I was like, "Yeah." I didn't talk to him, but some massive ass white guy. We did some knuckles. I forgot about this part, to be honest.
Yeah. The ass boys coming at the end.
We're the ass boys.
Yeah.
Billy, yes, we are the ass boys.
So do you guys? So I'm one of them who has to fall asleep, like watching something. I'm one of those weirdos, and I randomly was watching. Oh, my girl actually wanted to see Kurt Angle's Hall of Fame induction, and then it just stayed on, and it went to 2019 when DX went in, and the Ass Boys were just in the crowd because I don't even know if they were signed yet by AEW. So it was weird seeing that, so recent that from the other side.
I love seeing stuff like that. Like you go back and you look at old stuff and then you'll see like wrestlers like where you're not supposed to see them. Like when The Rock when Rock and Ronda Rousey were doing their thing, it's like Shayna Baszler was there with Jessamine
Chilling
Duke
outside
like
the
in
ring.
the front row. And you
Or
see them
Ric
now. It's like,
Flair's,
oh, shit.
or Ric Flair's last match against Shawn Michaels. Charlotte's there.
Yep.
Yeah. Speaking of Charlotte, one of the good ones was when rest in peace David Flair. When David Flair went to the house when he was beefing with his father, and like Charlotte was there.
Yeah.
Charlotte was like
She was
16.
like, yeah, she was young.
Yeah.
It was like she had her WCW debut.
Yeah.
There we go.
She
The
was
sign
actually
of
on
respect.
WCW TV.
Yeah, so is she the only active competitor on the roster that's been on WCW right now?
If you think about it, yeah.
Damn, that's a good question. Who else?
Yeah, because Taker's gone. Brock was never.
Yeah,
on
shit. Brock was
Yeah.
never there, and nobody's there.
I mean, technically, AJ.
Yeah, true. AJ's been everywhere, right? ECW,
Yeah.
I imagine too at some point.
No, I don't think he made it to ECW, but I know he was, from the stories I've heard, he was one of the guys that they were looking to bring into ECW. I guess he was supposed to be a part of like Chris Chetty's new crew right before they ended.
Okay.
Man,
Firefly
great
Funhouse for
match.
tonight. My buddy just sent me a
Great
text.
fucking match.
That was a great match.
It was. They just, yeah, it's like you try not to be sad about it, but they were them boys for a reason, you know?
Legit.
Yeah, like I woke up the next day and I was still like, I was gonna call out sick and shit. Like honestly, I wasn't gonna go to work because I was just fucking really upset, man. I took my ass to work and shit and was trying to like distract myself with my coworkers or whatever. But I found myself the whole day at work just like looking at matches and saving them until watch later, so that like I go home and fucking watch them. It's just, again, as being my age now and watching them for like so long, it's fucking just it sucks, man. It's a fucking total bummer. But again, I'm very glad that they were able to get their shine, as much as they could or were fucking allowed. Especially with matches like this. This shit is gonna be this is legendary, man.
Went out with a fucking phenomenal match though. And as a champion, so can never ever discredit that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
man. Well,
for me, it's hard to like, it's fun to watch him back. And usually it is harder for me to go back and watch some people's careers, but the tragedy, it sucks. And I think it's lingering in me still because of the fact that I still don't know what's going on with the daughter, and all prayers are for Gracie and, and the rest of the family. But as a fan, it's like, I can't look at Jay and not be proud. Like watching that match, I had like a smile on my face half the time. I'm just like, yeah, that's his greatness. Like that's him.
Yeah, for sure.
Like
that dude.
Like that dude, he was one of the realest professional wrestlers out there. Like we talk about, Nick Gage being crazy and New Jack being crazy, but when you put on a Briscoes match, you will not be disappointed. Don't care what type of match it is. Don't care where it is in their career. Don't care against who. You will not be disappointed. These boys are as good as advertised. And Jay was that dude. Jay was always.
Yeah, like I said, the Briscoes were the reason I even got into ROH, because that was 10 years ago now. Yeah, 10 years ago. So I was still young. I was 19 or 20. So I was still stuck in that. Oh, no, it's only this. I can only watch this. And then I saw that and I was like, I'll give this thing a shot.
Yeah, my thing with ROH was like when I discovered it, the only way I could watch it was like if I was up at fucking 2 a.m. to watch it. And then even with that, I was like, okay, but what channel is this shit on? Because I could never like remember what channel.
Everywhere.
I'd have to like literally go look it up on TV Guide or try to Google it, see when it that freaking comes on, and then like it's a mission. Now everything's so accessible that it's they just make it a lot easier.
Definitely. And I will say this once, I will say this again to all the listeners out there, to anyone who hears the sound of my voice. If you are a professional wrestling fan, do yourself a favor. $9.99 for On the Club is definitely worth it, whether it's for the Briscoes, whether it's for, Samoa Joe, whether you still got love for CM Punk, the early years of Bryan Danielson, AJ Styles, Amazing Red, like you name it, they're there, and they've been through those doors. And
all your favorites are there.
yeah, pretty much your favorites have been through those doors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And anything in the past 20 years, Ring of Honor, it was so damn good. And these dudes were the pillars of that company. Like we talk about, who's the face of WWE, who's the face of AEW, who's the face of Impact. There was no denying for 20 years, the Briscoes were the face of Ring of Honor. They were the constant. You go to a show, there was a Briscoe, whether they're tagging or singles or hell, they're fighting each other. They were on that card.
Yep. I won't argue that. But yeah.
Yeah, man.
Prayers,
Kinda
thoughts and prayers to the family.
Yeah, little pregnant pause there.
Hope
The
the best for the children. Speedy recovery, like you said. I haven't heard any updates.
Yeah.
Honestly, so, and not to, again, I'm not a fucking doctor or a reporter, or we don't do any of that shit here, but from what I heard, because I'm kind of keeping tabs on it, she didn't have any feeling from like the waist down when she was having surgery. Then she had the surgery, and now they're saying that now she has feeling in her hips. Good. And so what they're hoping and praying is that because there's so much swelling and everything's so fresh that it's this compression on the spine with the swelling. So once the swelling goes down, then they'll be able to gauge more or less, she hopefully with prayer and all that and help, whatever, she'll start to regain feeling. But for now, she does not have feeling in the legs yet, but she did regain some feeling in the lower extremity. So it's that's a good sign. But that was the last that I had heard.
Yeah, you always it kind of makes you want to take a step back and always just be grateful and thankful for what just athletes in a whole do, because you never know what's going to happen. Everyone hates and hates and hates. So much negativity. I know it's coming from the positive guy, but so much negativity. But look, like you have this, and people are still sitting here bashing him. And then not even a month ago, DeMar Hamlin, you know what I mean? Like that happened. So it's like, got to be appreciative of what these people do for us, whether, political views, medical view, whatever views aside. Like, yeah, I get it. You can feel some type of way, but appreciate what these people do for you, And if you have these negative ways, don't be that asshole on Twitter like that one guy made comments about it. Now he's gone, but there's no need for that. There's no need to express happiness towards something like this.
Yeah. No, please.
Oh, no, I was just going to say to that, I just want to say I love the fact that, like aside from the one guy that you guys brought up, I love the fact that the wrestling community has united on this. And, and I think, 2023, it's still a fresh year. It's still a new year. And, maybe we should take this, attitude and momentum and start, supporting other wrestling companies. You know what I'm saying? Like supporting, like not just criticizing everything, because we do that as podcasters from time to time. Like we all have our opinions. Like our show, we literally have a segment called Burial of the Week where we bury something. But let's
which is a great segment, everyone. Sorry, I had to plug.
Thank you. It is fun. And trust me, you guys aren't going to miss this Monday's episode. It's going to be great. Warner Discovery Media. But no, we need to start, being more, lenient when it comes to things as wrestling fans. Like, let's not all jump to something. Let's not all want to cancel somebody. Let's not all, especially the weirdos that are out there that are like making personal threats to people and showing up at females' houses and stuff like y'all need to get that shit together, man. That to me has always been creepy. I'm a fan. These people are here to entertain me, and whether it's our money, our time, our viewership, a tweet, whatever, they show it back to us in any way they can. And I'm not one of those people that's just like, you owe me this or you need to do that. Nah, man, let's have fun with professional wrestling in 2023 again. All right. WrestleMania is around the corner. AEW got some shows coming up. Impact just put on a banger of a pay-per-view. GCW has been on lately. MLW just got a new TV deal. New Japan is New Japan. Stardom just picked up a huge star. Like, there's a lot out there. If you don't like something, just don't watch.
Money.
Yeah. Money. If you don't like something, don't watch. You don't need to go on social media and complain about it. And like the great Dave Chappelle says, Twitter is not the real world
at all.
I think that's a phenomenal way to close that out because Twitter is not the real world.
It is not.
And it's the worst is I gotta add this. The worst is when someone like I could gloat. That was awesome, like online, which I usually don't. If I share anything, it's to like friends, like but never like public tweets. And then somebody like, that was fucking stupid. You're a moron. Like, wait, what? Like, why?
Yeah, it would be nice if, as a whole here, anyone listening to this who spends their time on Twitter being a fucking troll, it would be nice if at least one bright thing we can get out of this horrible, horrible, horrific tragedy would be that you be a little nicer and you actually appreciate what these people are doing for you instead of going, oh, botching, the botches. Bro, it's not an actual science. Like, shit's gonna happen. Shit's gonna go left here. It's fucking wrestling. But you need to understand that these people are putting literally their lives on the line to entertain you. So, just fucking calm down with your ratings and your silly bullshit and your fighting and your tribalism, bro. For the love of God, try to be more positive and like, it's craziness, dude.
Nope, I agree.
Yo, Battle of the Valley. Oh, it's February. Okay, I was bugging. I was like, wait a minute. It says the 18th. And I was like,
yeah, I think it's 20th.
18th. Okay, that's next month. All right, cool. Just want to make sure that wasn't creeping up on me because I do want to watch that shit.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
I guess
boys,
Bryan.
This is the part where we awkwardly end the show. This is how we do it on this thing. It's always awkward. We don't know how to fucking finish it, but this is basically.
Trust me, I listen every week. You guys, by the way, used to have been doing a phenomenal job. Lou, I don't know if it's you who does the TikToks, but I'm seeing y'all everywhere on TikTok now.
Oh yeah, I'm trying.
I catch up and listen to you guys whenever I can when I'm driving. Phenomenal work. Love the episodes. You guys have been killing it, and congratulations on all the success y'all have been getting because it's very well deserved.
Hey man, appreciate that, bro.
We learned.
We're trying to be like the big boys. Yeah, we're trying to learn. We're trying to get from the brain trust here in our group chat. We're trying to suck the success out. Pause.
There's the pause.
Gotta throw it in there.
Yeah, I'm honestly very excited for you guys. You guys know UWO Podcast again. I know he'll plug it again one more time though, but I'm excited because I love watching you guys live because sometimes I watch Don't Comment Where, but I love watching when there's like a big episode because I know you guys live watch Raw.
Oh yeah.
And this week's the Raw XXX. So
yes,
all these legends. I know there's going to be a lot of bashing, like in a funny way. I'm very excited.
Like even though I know it's going to sound weird because it sounds like I'm contradicting what I just said earlier, but like you guys know us, we love to bust balls, and that's one thing about our show. Like as much as we will joke and criticize a character, we will never disrespect the human behind the character. Mm-hmm. Like we will joke about what we see in front of us, instantly reacting, because we are the barbershop first take, whatever perspective you guys want to give us. But we try to make it fun. And that's one thing about us. We always say everyone is welcome. We want you to come in with a different opinion. Like the other two guys, like especially Eddie, we all know like Eddie's our punching bag of the show because he's short. But Eddie's the punching bag of the show because he's the one who he'll play to that, internet troll character. But off camera, we agree on damn near everything. Like we love to have fun. We love watching this. As much as we talk about how bad Raw is some nights, we love sitting here watching Raw. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a variety show, in my opinion. Like, yes, it's professional wrestling, it's sports entertainment, but it's a variety show. We're supposed to have fun with it. Like, I will never be mad at R-Truth, coming down and cutting a promo on Paul Heyman about throwing him out of the Royal Rumble. As dumb as some people may find it, I think it's hilarious. Like the guys busted my balls about, Maxim male models for months. And now I started to buy into it. And now they're off television, it's our running joke. And we just want it always to be fun, man. We always want it to be a fun, lighthearted time. But, this Monday we will start off a little somber because we are going to, get into Jay. The boys, trust me, especially Kyle. Kyle's finally getting hit by it now. We got a lot to say about Jay. We got a lot to say about, Raw 30, which we're excited for because I'm probably one of those people that's damn near watched every episode of Raw for 30 years. And then, we got Rumble coming up next weekend.
Mhm.
So, we got to do predictions. We're going to give
yeah.
our crazy, wild, who's the surprise entrant, who's showing up. And, we're going to think outside the box. And it's going to be a fun time.
Awesome.
Hell yeah.
Awesome. And then, so me, I don't plug me no more. But
By the way,
speaking
we're
of
on
Rumble,
YouTube. We are on YouTube, by the way, live every Monday night.
Oh, absolutely.
yes. And then for us, I'll let Lou close out, but I'll just go real quick for us. Speaking of Rumble, that's why I'm going to say quick. This Tuesday, we'll be recording our Rumble prediction show. So maybe Monday, I'll get some idea from the Barbershop boys. Maybe run with their ideas. And we'll see what happens. But, for us and Wrestling is Trash, make sure YouTube and Instagram at Wrestling is Trash, especially the YouTube. We began more and more subscribers, so thank you, everyone. And at Twitter at Wrestling is B Trash. But Lou, take us home. See, that wasn't awkward.
There you go. See, Nick is always smooth with it. He eases me into the.
You forgot to follow the name
end.
part. See, even
That's
I know
it.
that. Follow the name.
That's all you got to do. Follow it. Lou from the BX Man, host of the Everything Podcast. You already know one half of the Trash Boys. We are here every Tuesday for you guys. Sometimes we upload it on Tuesday, sometimes we upload it on Mondays, but we upload it every week. We try to. And we just want to thank you guys very much for joining us once again. We'd like to thank Bryan from the UWO Podcast. If you don't already know, follow him on YouTube, follow him on Instagram, follow him on Twitter if he has a Twitter, which he's usually on, but I know Twitter's dark space, but fuck it. Follow him on there anyway. Follow everybody.
UWO 401.
Yeah, man. Follow everybody. And again, guys, thank you so much for joining us. I know it's if you're out there and you're feeling, real sad about what happened, we hope that we can at least give you a little bit of put a little bit of a smile on your face today with this episode. That's what the goal was, to actually watch this match and enjoy it and kind of reminisce. So we hope we were able to provide some of you with that. And with that being said, guys, thank you very much for joining us. Reach for the sky, boy.